Students, welcome back. So today I am Anuradha from DPS Haldwani Lamajor going to start another topic of chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants. Okay, so here in the last session we have completed different parts of the plant. Okay, what we have discussed, we have discussed that we have to do root, then stem, then leaf, flower, fruit and seed. Okay, that much parts we have to complete in this chapter, and we will study about the whole external appearance of that part. So that's why chapter name is Morphology of Flowering Plants. So we have completed about the roots, okay, types of roots, their modifications. Same like this we have completed the stem, okay, types of stem, their modification. So now today we will start with the third one, that is the leaf. Okay, and this leaves is part of what? It is a part of shoot system. Okay, so the what is a leaf? What is a leaf? So you can see that any leaf is in flattened structure. Okay, and this flattened structure is arising from where? From the stem. If I will talk about this stem, okay, so anything, it is arising from where? From the stem. And how it is appearing as a flat structure. Okay, and this flat structure is arising as a lateral one. So same thing we have written here, it is a lateral flattened structure which is present on the stem. Okay, and it develops at the node. And where it is developing? It is developing at the node, and it bears some bud also. Okay, if any bud will form here, it can form from this part. So we can say that it is arising from the node, and yes, it is bearing these buds which is present in the axillary part. Okay, which is present in the axillary part, and after that it will give rise to a new branching. Like this, the whole plants are branched over a whole tree. Okay, so now we have done how the leaves are arising from the stem. Here we will talk about that how many parts we are having in this leaf. If we will take this one leaf from the plant, so how it will look like? What are the different parts of this leaf? Right? So the next heading is the parts of the leaf. Here I have drawn one leaf. Okay, it is having three parts. Any leaf having three parts, what is it? The first one is leaf base, second one is petiole, and third one is lamina. Now if you will see here, base is showing where this leaf, okay, where this leaf is attached. So this part is known as leaf base. And what is this petiole? Petiole is a stalk. Okay, petiole is a stalk of the leaves which will help to attach with the leaf base, right? So the petiole is a stalk. Then lamina is what? Lamina is the whole leaf blade. Okay, this part which is present here, okay, for example this is a leaf, so whole part of this, it is known as leaf, and it is also known as leaf blade, right here. So we, like this we can say leaf having three parts. The first one is a leaf base which arises from the base one, and the second one is petiole, then third one is lamina. Now there is some another name of this leaf base, as it is present lower in the part. Okay, it is present in the lower part. So what we will say this leaf base? Hypopodium. As we have done epicotyle, hypocotyle. Epi means above, okay, hypo means lower. So here leaf base is present at the lower end, so we can say it is a hypopodium, and petiole is present at the middle one, so we will say mesopodium, and lamina is present at the upper one, so we will say epipodium. Okay, so here what is the epipodium? That first one, that this one, then mesopodium, middle one, and here hypopodium, right here. So we have completed this structure. Now again if you will see this lamina part or the leaf blade part having different structure. Like if we will talk about this terminal or the apex end of the leaf, the tip end of the leaf, it is known as what? It is known as leaf apex. So what it is? It is a leaf apex. And the another thing which is present here, the whole parameter Okay, the whole parameter of this leaf, it is known as what? It is known as leaf margin. Margin means everything which is margining or everything which is surrounding it, it is known as leaf margin. Clear? Then the main thing which is arising from here, it is known as midrib. Okay, so midrib is what? The thing which is arising from the central of the leaf, it is known as midrib, and this midrib will give rise to different veins. Okay, this midrib will give rise to different veins. So we can say these are the veins, and when there is a network of these veins, when there is a network of such veins, we will say veinlet. Okay, so that much is there in case of lamina. We are having different parts. As we know that the function of the leaf is what? We all know that function is what? Photosynthesis. So this lamina is helping, or the leaf blade is helping to take more and more CO than sunlight, and so that there will be more photosynthesis. Clear? Now, on the basis of some structure, which is vary in case of monocot, it may vary in case of dicots. So we have classified some of the terms here. What are they? That if we will talk about this leaf base, okay, when we will talk about this leaf base, you can see this leaf base can be of different types in case of different plants. If I will take the example of this mango, okay, mango, in case of mango, you will see that if this is a leaf, okay, if this is a leaf of mango, here there is some swollen structure. Okay, when you will pluck this leaf from here, from the leaf base, you can see some swollen structure is there. It is known as what? Pulvulus. What you will say? Pulvulus. So this is the structure which is related here, and this type of structure is present in case of dicot one. Okay, it is a feature of dicot that they are having in some of the plants. It is not present in all the plant. You can see this type of swollen structure at the leaf base, and this swollen structure is known as pulvulus. Okay, an example is what? Example is mango. Now another type of this leaf base. In some of the plants, you can see that the base is somehow different. How? Because there is no such structure. So what will happen here? If you will talk about the monocots, where there is a maize, wheat, rice, okay, how the leaf is arising? They are not arising like this. So for example, it is a leaf base of monocot. So what is happening? So this is a part of stem. So this type of leaf which is present in case of monocot, they will cover some stem. Okay, first of all they will cover some stem, and afterwards they will arise from that part. Like this, in the another way, it will cover some stem part, then it will arise from above part. So like this it will arising from the leaf base, and here there is a particular leaf base, but in case of the monocot, they are not having that proper leaf base, and instead of that, what is that? Sheathing leaf base. Sheathing means to cover something. So first of all, it will cover the stem for some distance, and afterward it will arise from there. So this is known as the sheathing leaf base, and mostly it is present in case of monocot plants. Okay, so we have done this thing. Now if you will talk about the petiole, again on the basis of this petiole, we have divided into two parts. In some of the plant, you can see that this stalk is present. Which stalk? The stalk which is responsible for taking this leaf here. So if this stalk is present here, what you will say? You will say petiolate leaf. What this type of leaf which I have drawn here, it is what? It is petiolated leaf. Why? Because it is having stalk for bearing this leaf. Right here. But in some cases what happens? The leaf, for example, it is present here, the leaf is directly arising from the stem. Okay, so what is happening here? The leaf is directly arising from the stem, and there is no stalk. So that time what you will say? It is a sessile leaf. What you will say? Sessile leaf. Petiolate means this petiole is present, and sessile leaf means this petiole is absent. Okay, and it is known as sessile leaves here. Now we have done the comparison between these two also. Now the third part is leaf blade, and the importance of leaf blade having this midrib which will provide stiffness to the leaf to remain as it is the proper structure. Okay, so all three parts we have completed here. Now another thing about the leaf, that is venation. What is the meaning of venation? Venation related to the veins. So how these veins or the network of veins are arranged in the leaf lamina or the leaf blade, it is known as venation. Okay, so how the veins are arranged here? On the basis of this, we have classified the leaf into two types. What are they? Reticulate venation, and another one is the parallel venation. And these two classification based on the veins and veinlets arrangement. So now we will understand that the first one, that is the reticulate venation. Reticulate means network like. Okay, make sure what is reticulate means. Network like. If I will draw one leaf, okay, like this. So here this is midrib, okay, and here what happens that different veins are arising. What is happening? Different veins are arising, and from this veins it will form different network like structure. What is forming? Network like structure. So this type of leaf, it is known as reticulate venation, in which the vein or the veinlets are in presence of network. Okay, they are just like a network. They are forming the network in the whole leaf lamina. Okay, same thing we are saying on the leaf lamina, how these veins are arranged. They are arranged as a network. So this is known as reticulate venation. And now one important thing, that it is the example of what kind of plant? Those one which comes under the dicot. Okay, the dicotyledonous family, they comes under the reticulate venation. For example, in case of pulses, it is a dicot, we know about it. So if you will see the plant of the any pulse crop, you will see that there is a reticulate venation. It is a key feature of the dicot plants, right here. Now if we will see another venation, if I will draw another venation, that is parallel venation. What is the meaning of parallel? Have you seen some leaves like this? Okay, there is midrib. So all the veins are parallel to this midrib. Okay, when all the veins are parallel to the midrib, so what type of venation it will be? It will be parallel venation. You can see this parallel lines are present in this leaf. So in this leaf blade, what type of venation? Parallel venation is present, and it is known as parallel venation. And examples are monocot. And what are the monocot? For example, wheat, rice, maize, whatever the plant you will see, all they are having what type of venation? They are having parallel venation. And these two things, these two are the basis to observe that whether plant is monocot or dicot. Previously, we know in the lower classes that if seed having two cotyledon, it means dicot. If it is having only one cotyledon, it means that it is monocot. But later on, when you will study, when you will be in higher class, what you will understand, that on the base, not only on the basis of seed, we can say that it is a dicot or monocot. Even on the basis of leaf also, okay, even on the basis of leaves also, we can say that whether it is a dicot or whether it is a monocot plant. And if you will recall in the previous one, in case of root also, okay, on the basis of root, we have divided into taproot and fibrous root, which distinguish between monocot and dicot plant. So there are some basis of classification to say that what type of plant it is, whether monocot or dicot. So these type of venation are helpful to find out this thing. Clear? Now another topic comes under the leaves, that is types of leaves. How many types of leaves we are having? Okay, majorly what types of leaves you are seeing in day-to-day life? Mostly we can say there is a simple leaf, and another one is the compound leaf. Simple leaf means simple. Okay, so how the simple leaf will be? If I will draw the structure of the simple leaf, okay, if I will draw the structure of the simple leaf like this. Okay. It is a simple leaf as well as this is also a simple leaf. Okay, so don't confuse between these two. Both are the simple leaf. Now, in what is the feature of simple leaf? That the midrib, okay, the midrib is present like this, and the leaf margin, okay, what is this? The leaf margin is not, will not never meet with this midrib. Okay, so what is happening in case of simple leaf? The midrib is present like this, and the leaf margin will not meet with the midrib. So in both the cases, what is happening? Incision are present, whether incision are present or whether incision are absent. In both the cases, what you are observing, that the leaf margin are not meeting with the leaf midrib. Okay, so in both the cases, we will say it is a simple leaf. An example is what? Example is rose. In case of rose, we can see this type of leaves. Okay, now here if we talk about the compound leaves, what are the compound leaves then? Now what happens, that if this excision, okay, what it is cutting. The cutting which is present in the leaf margin, it is known as what? Excision. Okay, excision. So this, if this excision will reach, when this excision will reach up to the midrib, okay, when this excision will reach up to the midrib, so what it will do? It will make leaflets. What it will make? Leaflets. So now the structure will be like what? Then it will, you can see that there is a structure. I have drawn. Why? Because during the evolution, earlier we are having the simple leaf. As the evolution took, so what happens? The things get changed. The simple leaf gets changed into the compound leaf. So what you are observing here, that each part have formed its own one, and all they are attaching with the midrib. Okay, all these leaves are attaching to the midrib. Have you seen this type of leaves in any plant? Yes. Okay, so in most of the plant, in case of neem, okay, in case of neem, what we are observing, that they are having this type of leaf. Now each leaves are attached with this what? This midrib. Now this midrib will known as what? It will known as rachis. What you will call? Rachis. Earlier we were saying that it is a midrib, but when it will transform into the compound leaf, okay, we have not seen this transformation, but yes, today we know that some leaves are simple and some leaves are compound. So what are the compound leaves? When the leaves will transformed into the leaflets. What are they? Leaflets. If I will make this diagram in a very simple way, you can see like this. Sometimes this like this also. This and this. Okay. So you can see this type of leaves. But here what I have shown, it is having what? Petiole, and it is having no petiole. So what you will say? It is a sessile leaflets, and here what you are observing, they are having particular petiole in each of the leaf, but now they are arranged like this, and this will become what? It will become rachis. Right here. So I have shown this part also, this part also. So what is happening? This is the compound leaves. Now this compound leaves, again we have divided. Okay, again we have divided. I am rubbing this diagram. So what is happening? When there will be excision will reach up to the midrib, and the midrib will transform into the rachis. So what will happen? It will become the compound leaf. So on the basis of this, we have divided into two parts. What are they? Pinnately compound and palmately compound. So the diagram which I have drawn here, it is the modification of the compound leaf, which is known as pinnately compound. What is the meaning of pinnately? In pinnately compound, you can see that this midrib is transformed into the rachis, and they are having different leaflets. And such type of things you can see in case of neem as well as rose. Right here. And another one is a palmately compound. What is the meaning of palmately compound? As I have said that all the leaves, they have not used this midrib here. Now what is happening here? This type of structure. Have you seen some leaves like this? Okay, all they are separate. All they are separate and connected like this. Okay, so what is happening here? That palm like, you can see the palm, all the fingers are different. Okay, they will arise from the main point, but the midrib which was present here, now it will become separately. Okay, each excision have formed each part. So we can say it is a pinnately compound leaf and it is a palmately compound leaf. And this palmately compound leaf you can see in case of silk, cotton. Okay, so both are the parts of compound leaves. Now another one is a phyllotaxy. What is the meaning of phyllotaxy? This question is important. What is the meaning of phyllotaxy? That how these leaves are arranged on any branch or stem. If I will say that, what are the characteristics of leaves? Leaves are present always and always on the stem. So how they are arranged? Okay, so how they are arranged, this one, it comes under the phyllotaxy. Right here, so we are having different phyllotaxy for the leaves. The first one alternate, second one opposite, and third one is hold. Now what is the meaning of these three things? First of all, I will start with the first one, that is the alternate. We know this is a stem. Okay, now how the leaves will arranged in this stem? I am drawing all these three. For example, I am having three plant. Okay, I am having three plant, and the first part, that is alternate, it means that for example, this is a leaf. Okay, and another leaf will be here, then another leaf will be here, then another leaf will arise like this. Okay, so I am here making sessile, but you just make this petiolated leaf, it will be easier to understand. Okay, I am making petiole also here like this. So how the leaves are arranged in this plant? Here it is alternate. What you are observing, that at each node, what you will say, at each node only one leaf is arising, and in another node, in another part, again there is only one leaf, again there is one leaf, there is one leaf. So at each node you will find that one leaf is present, and the arrangement is like that they are alternate with each other. They are, if left side is here, then right side will be this side, left then right. So like this there will be arrangement of leaves on the plant, and that type of arrangement, it is known as alternate. Clear? Now another one is opposite. Opposite means what? For example, that they are not alternate with each other. So how they are present? That example, if one leaf is present here, so another leaf will again present here. Okay, then if one leaf is there, then another leaf, then this leaf, then another leaf. So what you are observing in this type of arrangement? What you are observing? That at each node they are having pair of leaves. At each node, pair of leaves. We are having two at each node, and they are forming pairs. And all these are opposite to each other. For example, this leaf is this side and this leaf will be this side. Okay, so what is having? They are opposite to each other. So this type of arrangement, it is known as opposite one. Okay, so we have done alternate, we have done opposite one, and the third one is hold. Wall means what? Something in a circular form. Okay, which is forming some circular like structure, it is known as wall. Now in case of wall, what happens that two leaves, okay, here I am talking about one leaves, here from this one there will be two leaves. Okay, there will be two leaves like this, again here will be two leaves. So like this, what they are, here I am not able to draw that 3D structure. If you will see the 3D structure of this plant, what you will observe that they are forming whole, okay, round like structure. So this is known as what? Whole phyllotaxy. Okay, so what you will say? Two leaves arising from each node. Okay, and again they are opposite to each other. They are opposite to each other, and sometimes again we have divided into two parts, superimposed and decussate. Okay, if you will see from the above, what you can see, that you will not able to see the each and every leaf. Why? Because they are superimposed with each other. right? So here examples we will discuss. If you will see about this alternate, where you can see in case of China rose, mustard and sunflower. Now this one is important for the MCQ because it is mentioned in your NCERT that these are the examples, and all these examples are important from the examination point of view. And what are the example of this opposite one? Calotropis and guava. Okay, in both the plants you can see this type of phyllotaxy, and world you can see in case of Nerium or Elstonia. Nerium is what? Canare. You can see canare. So in that part you can see that this type of arrangement of leaves are present, right? So we have done these subheadings under the leaf part. Now we will discuss one more thing about this leaf, that modification. In all the things, whether it is root, stem and leaves, we are studying about the modification. Why? Because these modifications are important for different functions. So we will study the next one, that is modification. So now the another one is a modification of leaf. So what is the meaning of this modification? That how the leaf will transform into some other structure. The first one is leaf tendrils. In some of the plants what happens that the leaf is changed into the tendrils, and when they will change into the tendrils, what they will do? They'll help the plant to attach with some of the support. So we can say the function of this tendril is what? To give support for the plant, right here. So this is one of the modification. Now we'll understand another modification, that is spines. Now spines is what? Spines is present in case of that xerophytic plants, that is Opuntia. If you will see the Opuntia, what you are finding that the stem, okay, already we have done in part of stem, the stem will transformed into this structure, this flat structure right here, and the leaves which is present generally in the plants, it will transformed into the spines. So what you are observing, that stem is transformed into the flat-like structure and the leaves will transformed into this spines, and these spines are for what? For reducing the transpiration rate in case of xerophytic plant. So we know that the functions are very important. So here we have done two things, tendrils and spines. Now the third one is phyllodes. What is phyllodes? Another thing, it is modification of leaf. If I will draw this stem, okay, in case of some of the plants, example Australian acacia. In case of Australian acacia, what happens that the leaves are short-lived. What are they? The leaves are short-lived, and the stem, okay, and the stem as well as leaf, what they will do? They will transform itself. How? The leaves having proper petiole, as we have done right now, that every leaf having petiole. So the petiole of the leaf, the stalk of the leaf will transform into this flat like structure. Okay, what is happening? This one will transform into this flat like structure, and now from here you can see that these types of things are present. This type of structures are present, which is known as what? Phyllodes. Okay, so we can say that the leaves are transformed in this leaflets, as well as this petiole is transformed into this solid flat structure. Now what happens that this will reduce the transpiration rate, okay, because there is no such proper leaf like structure. So what is it doing? It is doing, it is reducing the transpiration rate here, right? So we have done three modification. Okay, now we will discuss about the fourth modification, that is pitcher. Now what is pitcher? In case of insectivorous plant, what are they? Venus flytrap. You know about this Venus flytrap. Okay, this is having what? This is having proper pitcher like structure, घड़े की तरह structure होता है, and it is having this proper tendril, okay, and this lid structure is there. So now how this modified? Again this pitcher is a modification of what? It is a modification of leaf. How it is a modification of leaf? We know the structure of leaf like this, okay. The leaf apex, this leaf apex will transform into this, sorry, this leaf apex will transform into this lid here, and the petiole part, the petiole or the leaf base part will transform into this tendril. Are you getting here? That base will transform into the tendril, which is providing the support to the pitcher with to attachment with the plant, and this leaf apex will transform into the lid of this pitcher, and the whole leaves will get rolled. Whole leaves will get rolled, and it will form the this middle pitcher part right here. And again it is important for what? Because to take the nutrition, because these plants are taking nutrition from the insect, and again so this is the function of this pitcher right here. Again I am rubbing this part. Now another modification is scaly leaves, very important. In your NCERT only structure of onion is given, whether it is an onion or the garlic. In the both cases what you can see, the leaves are transformed into some different parts. If you will see the onion, okay, if you will see the onion like this, it is having disc like structure. So in the root or in the downward part, what you are seeing, and we have done in case of stem. This onion is what? Onion is a modified stem. What are they? They are the modified stem, and they are having some leaves upper part also, okay, which is now in this onion you can see, if you will see, different structure, different parts which you are eating also. This white part which is present inside this onion, what is this? This is the edible part. So we can say that in case of onion and garlic, the leaves are the leaves are having different structure, and this leaf plus stem is forming bulb, because we know that onion is what? It is a bulb. So it is a combination of this leaf and stem right here. Now what happens that the outer part which you are not eating, that outer colored part, it is known as what? What type of leaf? Scaly leaves. What you will say? Scaly leaves. And the inner part, that white part which you are eating, it is known as fleshy leaves. Okay, it is known as fleshy leaves. And the part which is above the ground, that's why we have given name aerial, in the air. Okay, so this is aerial leaves. So what are the edible and what are the non-edible? The outer part is non-edible, and this part is edible. Okay, and again this part is edible, because we are eating the these leaves of onion also. Okay, so we have done that. All this is what? This is the leaf modification. This bulb is what? Modification of leaf, because it is modification of leaf as well as the stem right here. So we have done examples onion here. Again I am talking about the another structure, that is inflorescence. So in case of inflorescence, as we have done root, we have completed stem, we have completed leaves. Okay, we have done all about it. Now the other thing is inflorescence. Inflorescence is what? How there is arrangement of flowers in a plant. How the flowers are arranged in the particular plant. It is known as inflorescence right here. And this inflorescence can be of two types. It may be racemose inflorescence or it may be cymose inflorescence. Now what is the meaning of racemose and what is the meaning of cymose? And we will understand with the help of diagram here. Here I have drawn one plant. In this plant, what you are observing? That this is a main axis. What you will say? Inflorescence axis. Why? Because it is bearing the flower. Okay. In this axis, the flower is present. So it is known as inflorescence axis. And they are having different name. We will say we can say flowering axis also, we can say peduncle also, we can say receptacle also, we can say torus also, we can say thalamus. Okay, so there are different names. These are the synonyms. So mostly what we are using here, this is the inflorescence axis, and here these flowers are attached with some stalk. Flowers are attached with some stalk, and this stalk, it is known as pedicel. Okay, and this pedicel is just like you can imagine with the petiole, because leaves are also attached with some stalk which is known as petiole, and the flowers are all also attached with some stalk which is known as pedicel. And on the basis of this thing, we have classified into two parts. What are they? Pedicellate flower and non-pedicellate flower. What you will say? Pedicellate flower and non-pedicellate flower. In non-pedicellate flower, what terms we are using? The sessile. Okay, same thing we have used in case of leaf. Those leaves, those not having any stalk, that leaf it is known as sessile leaf, and those flowers which not having any stalk, it is known as sessile flower. Right here. So what type of things you can see here? It is a pedicellate flower. Okay. So we have completed this part. Now we will understand that what is the meaning of racemose and what is the meaning of cymose. Okay. In all the cases, how the flowers will arranged in a proper fluorescence axis. So here if we talk about the racemose, here I am drawing the racemose, another one. This one is a racemose. Now how the flowers will arranged here? The first thing which I have written, indefinite growth. In case of racemose, the growth will be indefinite, means that they can grow up to unlimited height. Okay, they can grow up to unlimited height. But when we talk about this cymose, it is having the definite growth. Okay, and why it is happening so in case of racemose and cymose? Because in case of racemose, there is no flower at the tip. There will be no flower at the tip. So what will happen if there will be no flower at the tip? So there the growth will be unlimited. It will not limit the growth of the plant. Right here. Alternatively, if we talk about the cymose, I have drawn this diagram here. So this diagram is an example of what? Cymose inflorescence, in which you are seeing that at the top there is a presence of flower. Okay, at the tip of the plant there is a flower, and this flower will limit the growth of this axis. So it is clear what is racemose? In racemose there is no flower at the tip, so there is a indefinite growth and there is a definite growth. So we have covered these 2 points here. Now another one is very important, that is acropetal arrangement. Okay, acropetal. In racemose we are having acropetal. Okay, and here we are having basipetal. What is the meaning of acropetal? Acropetal means, you can remember this term like ascending. Okay, ascending means what? From smaller to larger, and basipetal you can memorize with the help of descending. It means that from larger to smaller. So what will happen, that when there is a formation of flower, okay, when there is a formation of flower, what happens that in case of acropetal arrangement, at the this part at the top end there will be a younger leaves. There will be a younger leaves. Okay, and there after that, sorry, I am not talking about the leaf, I am talking about the flower. Okay, if it is a flower, I am trying with the colored one. If it is a flower here, so this flower is what? This flower is new flower, or we can say younger flower, and this flower is like this. So all the new flower will at the top position, and all the older flowers at the base position. Are you getting here? It means that smaller flowers which are younger one, they are at the top, and the old flowers or the older one will at the base position. This is acropetal. And what is basipetal? Basipetal means that descending order from bigger to smaller. It means that just opposite to this acropetal. What happens that there is the larger flower at the top, and the smaller flower which is the younger flower at the base. Okay, so this one is acropetal as well as basipetal. So same thing we have written, the older flower towards the base, old one, and the younger flower at the apex. Right here. Here younger flower towards the base, small. The younger flower will be the small. Okay, जो नए flowers होंगे वो कैसे होंगे? छोटे होंगे, और वो कहाँ पे होंगे? बेस में होंगे. Okay, and the older flowers कैसे होंगे? Which is present at the apex. I have shown here. Okay, so this is acropetal and this is the basipetal arrangement of flowers on the plant. Right here. Now another thing, that is the centripetal and centrifugal. Here in acropetal or basipetal, we are talking about what type of flower? We are talking about the pedicel. Those flowers which are having the pedicel, so we can form like this. But those who are not having any proper pedicel, so what type of structure will be there in case of sunflower? Okay, in case of sunflower, what you are seeing, this thallus like structure is present, and in this thallus like structure different florets are there. Okay, different flowers are, two types of florets are present in case of sunflower. So here if I will draw this structure of thallus, if I will draw this thallus, what we can say, one is racemose type, this one, and another one is cymose type. In racemose type, there is a centripetal. Centripetal means, what is centripetal force? Which acts at the sider one, okay, at the peripheral end. And what is centrifugal force? Which applies at the center point. Okay, so on the basis of this name, we have done that older leaves. The older leaves towards the periphery. Okay, the older leaves towards the periphery and the younger leaves at the center. So what is happening here at the peripheral end, okay, at the side end or at this point, what is happening? The force is there. So centripetal, cider one, and another one is the centrifugal. Centrifugal means that older leaves toward the center. Okay, this older flowers, or we can say it will be at the center, and the younger flower will be at the that peripheral end. Are you getting it? What is centripetal and what is centrifugal? So this differentiation is important between racemose and cymose inflorescence. Okay, so now we have completed this topic here. Now we will start with the another part of the plant, that is flower. We know that we are having two units. What is that? Vegetative unit and the reproductive unit. So already which we have done in the shoot system, whether it is the stem, leaf, all they are what? They are the vegetative part of the plant. And when we talk about the reproductive part, it means that we are having this flower. Flower is a reproductive unit of plant. Right here, and whenever there will be a sexual reproduction, there is a need that there should be a flower. Okay, if there will be flower, then only sexual reproduction takes place. Okay, so we will understand that what are the different parts of this flower and what can be the different classification of flower on the basis of different characteristics. Right here. So here I have drawn the structure of flower, okay, general structure of flower, in which what we are observing here, that this part is what? Thalamus. Thalamus is what? Which contains all the reproductive part of the flower. So this is known as thalamus, and below that, from where you can pluck the flower, it is known as peduncle. And here, as we have done earlier, this flower is connected with some stalk. It is known as pedicel. Right here. So pedicel is a stalk of flower, and peduncle is below thalamus, from which it is attached, and thalamus in which all the reproductive units are present. And here you can see this, these are the sepals. Okay, we know that flower having sepals and petals. Right. So in biology, the sepals, what we'll call it, the scientific name is calyx. Right here, sepals or calyx. Now these colorful flower, okay, this colorful is known as petals. What we will call it? Petals. And another name of this petal, it is corolla. Right here. So we are having how many parts? Calyx, corolla, and the third one is the androecium. Androecium is the male reproductive unit of the flower, and it composed of the anther and filament. So here you can see that this part is known as what? It is known as anther, and this stalk, it is known as filament. Right? And combinedly, what we will say, anther plus filament, that it is known as androecium. Okay, it is a male reproductive unit of the flower. And another one is the gynoecium. Now gynoecium is what? It is a female reproductive unit. It means that here we have drawn some female reproductive part also. It composed of this stigma. It composed of this stigma, style, and ovary. So all these three composed of what? It is known as gynoecium. It is also known as the carpel also. Okay, and this part is known as stamen, and this part is known as carpel. right here. So we have done all 4 parts. Now one by one, later on we will study about the arrangement in these sepals as well as petals, androecium and gynoecium. So here we have done only different parts of the flower. Okay. Now we are having two types of flower. What are they? Unisexual and bisexual. Unisexual flower and bisexual flower. What is the meaning of these two terms? It means that when both the sexes are present on the same plant, it is known as bisexual. Okay, so here what you are seeing, that in which the male as well as female reproductive unit is present in the same flower. Okay, so what we are having, it is known as unisexual flower, and in which the having two different types of flowers, in which one of them carrying either of the anther or the female reproductive unit. It is known as what? It is known as the only unisexual flower. Unisexual means one sex, bisexual means two sexes. When one sex is present in only one flower, unisexual. When both the sexes are present in the same flower, it is known as the bisexual. Right here. Now here about the symmetry. What you will call symmetry? Symmetry is can be of different type. Okay, if we'll talk about the flowers, we are having different types of flowers. If you will see, some are having round structure, some are having different another structure of flower. So on the basis of the structure of flower, on the basis of this androecium, gynoecium, calyx, corolla, we will divide the flowers into different types on the basis of symmetry. Same thing we have done in case of animal kingdom. What we have done? We have classified. So symmetry can be of three types. What are they? The first one is, I am talking here about the asymmetric. It means that it is not, the symmetry is not possible here in this case. So what is it? Asymmetric. A means absence and symmetry. And another one is the actinomorphic. And another one is a zygomorphic. So one by one we will understand what it is. Now whenever we are saying symmetry, what is the meaning of symmetry? It means that when we are cutting any part, when we are cutting anything, and what happens is that it is having ability to divide into two equal halves. What it is? Symmetry is what? When there is a having ability to divide into two equal halves. And here what we are doing? We are cutting the flower, or we can cut the flower how? In which of the method? The one of the method is actinomorphic. Actinomorphic is what? It is also known as radial symmetry. Radial symmetry, as we have done, what is a radial? This type of flower. Okay, this type of flower. So in symmetry we can divide into two equal part. Okay, either of any plane. अगर हम इस plane से काटेंगे तब भी two equal parts में divide हो जाएगा. अगर हम इस पोजीशन इस वाले प्लेन से काटेंगे तब भी ये टू पार्ट्स में डिवाइड हो जाएगा. सो व्हाट टाइप ऑफ सिमेट्री इट इज? Actinomorphic, in which we will cut from any of the plane and it will divide into two equal halves. Right here. So this is actinomorphic. Now if we'll talk about the zygomorphic. Okay, zygomorphic is what? It means that bilateral symmetry. What is the meaning of bilateral symmetry? The division, or we can say it can be divided into two equal halves only and only by one plane. For example, if I will take the example of this type of flower. Okay, this type of flower. This type of flower which is present in which cases? In case of P, you can see this type of one stand in which we are having one standard, two wings and two keels. Right here. So in this part what happens? You can cut the flower by only one plane. ओके अगर हम इस प्लेन से कट करेंगे तो क्या होगा? दो इक्वल पार्ट्स में डिवाइड नहीं होगा. सो हाउ कैन वी कट दिस फ्लावर? वी कैन कट दिस फ्लावर इनटू टू इक्वल हाफ्स only and only by one plane. Right here. And here from any plane, if you will cut it, it will divide it into two equal parts. Okay, and some of the form which we have seen here, like this also. Okay, we can cut like this, we can cut like this, any of the plane we can cut. So this is the what? Actinomorphic, and this is a zygomorphic, in which only one plane is there, and another one is the asymmetric. Asymmetric means we cannot cut it into equal halves. Why? Because flower is not having any proper shape. It can be of any shape. So how we will cut it? We cannot cut it into equal halves. So this is known as asymmetric. Now examples which is important for you. Mustard, datura, chili is example of actinomorphic. Then pea, gulmohar, bean, cassia, mostly of the dicot, it is having zygomorphic, and asymmetric in case of canna. Okay. Now again we have divided the flower on the basis of their appendages. Okay, the external appendages which is present here. We can say in case of this sepals are present here. So on the basis of the numbering of sepals, we have divided into different parts. The first one which we have discussed here, trimeres. Tri denotes to what? 3. If we are having external appendages 3 in number or multiple of 3, it means that 3, 6, 9, whatever. So multiple of 3 or the multiple of 3, the appendage will be there. We will call it trimeres, right here. And if the appendages which are present here in form of 4 or multiples of 4, 4, 8, so we can say, we will call it tetrameres. And the pentameres is what? In which the appendages are present in case of 5 or the multiple of 5. Right here, it may be 3 sepals or it may be 6 or 9. Here, sepals will be 4, 8. Here, sepals will be 5 or 10. So, we can say like this we have classified into 3 types. Okay. Another classification of flower. Another classification of flower on the basis of bract. So, now what is this bract? Bract is a structure, this type of structure, hairy-like structure which is present at the pedicel. Okay, this is present at the base of the pedicel, and this is known as what? This is known as bract. What you will call it? This is known as bract. In those plants or in those flowers in which this bract is present, it is known as bracteate. Okay, in some of the flower, this bract is absent. So what you will call it? Ebracteate. Right here. So we have done this classification of flower. Now another classification of flower on the basis of the thallus. What is the situation of the thallus? We have classified into 3. What are they? Hypogynous, perigynous, epigynous. Okay, gynous related to what? Related to the female structure. It means we are talking about the ovary here. Okay, so whatever the things, whatever the things or the thallus, in thallus contains what? It contains the sepals also, it contains the petals also, it contains this male reproductive part also. Okay, all these are present in this thallus. So if all the structures, if all the structures are below the ovary, if all the structure will be below the ovary, it is known as hypogynous condition. So the diagram which I have drawn here, what type of flower? It is hypogynous flower. In hypogynous flower, you can see that sepals are also below the ovary, and here you can see that the petals are also rising from below the ovary. If I will change this diagram like this to make you understand about this type of thallus, what you are observing that flowers are also below the ovary. Okay, now what happens that, now in this case what happens that ovary will be superior. Okay, and everything which is present in this flower, it is arising from below the structure. Okay, so what you are observing, whether the male part as well as this petals or this thallus or the sepals, all they are present below the ovary. It means that we can say that ovary is superior here. Okay, so here in case of hypogynous, ovary will be superior, right here. Now if we talk about the perigynous, peri means at the peripheral end. So every structure is present at the periphery of this gynoecium. So how we will change this structure in case of perigynous? It means that somehow the ovary will be half inferior. In the first case, ovary was superior, but here what happens, the thallus will arise from this part. From which part? From this part. So I am rubbing all these things here. Then only I can draw it. So here in this case, what happens, that everything is arising from where? From the middle of the gynoecium and the thallus is present also above one, and this male part is also arising at the above part, and these petals are arising from this part. So here what you are observing, now somehow the ovary is below this thalamus. Now this ovary is below the thalamus. So this condition is known as perigynous. It means that ovary will be half superior and half inferior, and it is all the structure will be at the peripheral on end of this gynoecium. Right here. So this condition is known as perigynous. And the third condition is epigynous. Epi means everything. Okay, everything is situated above this ovary. Okay, so how the diagram will change here? How the diagram will change here? You can see that if ovary is here, you can see that thalamus will start from here. Thalamus will start from here. It means that sepal will also be here, and then petals will also arising from there, this side. Okay, and the male also is at the same side. Okay, so what you are observing here in this case, now ovary is fully inferior. Okay, and all the parts are lying above this ovary. So what you will call it, this ovary is inferior here. Okay, so here some examples are given. Hypogynous condition we can see in which of the plant? Mustard, China rose and brinjal. Okay, and perigynous condition you can see that the plum, rose and peach. In case of rose you can see that thallus is present and gynoecium is somewhat solan structure. Okay, very well you can see in case of rose. Epigynous condition you can see in case of guava, cucumber, ray floret of sunflower. If you have seen the guava, what happens? The structure which is developing, it is at the lower end, and all the part of the flower arises from the above part. So you can easily observe in case of guava as well as in case of cucumber also. Right here, you have seen in case of pumpkin, flower is there, and below the flower we can see some small fruit is there. Okay, some fruit, small fruit we are observing, which showing that it is a female one. Okay, so we can say that what it is there, it is the epigynous condition. Right, so that much we have completed here. So that's all for today. Thank you.